turn the world upside down. God's gonna turn these people right side up. We're gonna shout till we're 6 feet over. We're gonna demonstrate something unusual. Come on, do that proclamation with us. Everybody do it, let's go. We're gonna turn the world upside down. We're gonna turn these people right side up. We're gonna shout until we're 6 feet over. We're gonna demonstrate something unusual. Come on! Something unusual.
Vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Code Breakers Live. It's lovely to see you this weekend. I'm having a look at the chat here. Oh, so much, so much. Talk about a strange July. Man, did we call it here at the House of Destiny? We said, whole month we're theming it. This is Strange July. We knew which prophecy we were dealing with, the season's prophecy. And of course, many of you were with us last week with Bo Polney, and we went through and saw what Bo had to say about that. I was supposed to have Clay Clark on with me today, but he's going to come on next week because he has another deposition. He's also been attacked with this lawfare for his association with Donald Trump. And, one thing I must say about Clay Clark is that I don't think any of us would know half or a fraction of what we know about the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, Yuval Noah Harari, and all the globalist agenda, if not for him just posting daily, just multiple times a day, video of them saying things from their own mouths of what their plans were. And it really opened the eyes of a lot of people. And I will say that I don't know if you guys have heard of Anonymous. I'm sure you have. The official Anonymous page was actually using his video clips. And I called him and I said, Clay, they're using your video clips. And the reason I know is because of the writing and information he has on the bottom of the screen. And he has this little noise, zhup, zhup, at the end of the video. So he is such a good researcher, Renee. That's absolutely right. I'm looking at the chat finally now. Ohio, hello from Ohio. Hello to Ohio. Who else have we gotten here? Strange and vile. Yes, that's true. Who said that? I lost it. So we've got a lot to talk about today. Hello, Katie in Scotland. Lovely to see people from other countries. I love Scotland. It's so beautiful there. Oh, this morning. I woke up this morning and I put the TV on and it just started playing videos. And next thing, there was a video of the most beautiful castle in France for sale. And this real estate agent was doing a tour through the castle. And it was just so lovely. And when I saw Scotland, I thought of that too. We actually stayed in a sort of castle when my brother got married there in 2014. So anyway, I was dreaming of, what it would be like to live in a castle. I'd love it. But yes, Scotland is just such a beautiful place. And so many of you logging on now. Arizona. Hi, Michelle. Michigan. Hello to Michigan. North Carolina. Prayers for Clay. Yes, he's got a deposition. And so he was going to have to leave very early in the morning today. So he wasn't going to make it. But he'll be here next week with us. And we'll hear what he has to say about the most recent prophecies we have I keep saying we found them, or they're new. They're not new at all. They're actually very old. But we We have this database of stuff my dad prophesied, and some of those things just sit there and you don't know when they're going to come to pass. And some of them it takes 20 years. But that is the way it is with prophecy. Louisiana and Texas and Rhode Island and Florida and Oregon, Wisconsin, South Carolina and North Carolina. And if you're in Franklin, are you in Franklin, Tennessee? Over there on Rumble, we have Connecticut, Ohio, Denver, East Texas, Arkansas, Austin, South Carolina again. I love South Carolina. It's so pretty. Illinois, New Jersey, Kentucky. Oh, I'm so happy to see all of you here. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. And hello there, Tracy in the House of Destiny chat. I see you there. And Cheryl in Texas. So nice to see everybody on the House of Destiny as well. That is our network for anybody who may be watching on social media and doesn't know. We actually have a network. If you ever can't find us, if we disappear from any social media sites, because Lord knows what's going to happen, you can always go to kimclement.com, houseofdestiny.org, and you can watch there. And you can watch this show there as well. And we have an app. And so everything is safe. Oh, from Germany and from Tulsa, Washington, Northwest Washington. Smyrna, Tennessee. You're not far from me. We have the same weather. And as you notice, my hair is braided every time you guys see me on camera because the weather is so humid, and I've inherited my father's hair. And so, well, it's kind of a mix of my mom and dad. I don't know. But it's as wild as his hair was, and I cannot contain it in this weather. So this is the only option, is to braid it down. So anyway, we've got a lot to cover today. I'm so glad you guys are here. Oh, so yes, Strange July has been just full. Of course, we had an eruption since last we spoke. And of course, everybody, if you've been coming here every week, I kept saying, well, no, it's the year, because he prophesied about the volcanic eruption as a sign. And of course, nobody was seriously injured that I know of from the eruption in Yellowstone that we saw. And I will pull up my X page now so we can have a look at that. So let me just do that first. There we go. And I'm going to, can I just scroll through it? Yes, I can. Okay. So let me just scroll. I put this up last night. And I did this because I'm going to have to maybe go into it. So if you notice, this is a quote from Milton's Paradise Lost. And the quote is, and this is my reaction to what occurred at the Olympics and the opening ceremony, whatever that was. It was blasphemous. Anyway, long is the way and hard that out of hell leads up to light. I wrote that. I had it inscribed on a clock that I gave my dad when he was sick in 2016. And I have that clock now. And I put this image. This is actually from Paradise Lost, the book, but then I also put this image, which as everybody I'm sure already knows on here, you guys, I'm sure you know. If you don't, last night there was a blackout in Paris. So they did their blasphemous, debaucherous opening ceremony at the Olympics and then experienced a blackout. But the only thing that did not black out was that church there in that picture. That remained lit. So many of us are realizing that this was a sign. If you see, it's Sacré-Cœur Church. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's the church. So it went black all through Paris the very next day or next night, except for that church. So God really sent an obvious sign there. And that's why I wanted to show you that post. So yes, I will not repost the image that is mocking the Last Supper. I refuse to repost it because as I was scrolling through Exit, and rightfully so, people were sharing it saying, what is this? But I was so angry. Talk about an angry Christian. When they shot President Trump, I told you guys I had that anger, that righteous anger. Same thing happened when I saw that what they did at the opening ceremony for the Olympics. I mean, children are watching. And the other thing and it just makes me so mad, is can you imagine if they had done that, uh, maybe depicted Muhammad in some kind of a mocking way at that ceremony? What do you think the reaction would have been? So it was. I'm glad. This is what I'm happy about. Enough, without having to be violent and take any lives. Enough people protested what they did, and this is including people who are not Christians. Um, I think even in Iran, the leaders in Iran were going, "What's the matter with these people?" Because I mean, to them, they can't even imagine. And so I was glad to see this, which is, as you can see, it's in Paris, and a bunch of people went out there in protest of what they did at the Olympics, and had a praise and worship service. And you see the sign says, "Jesus, je t'aime," we love you, Jesus, or I love you, Jesus. And so I'm was so glad to see that when I went on to X this morning. And there is Trump yesterday. He spoke here in Nashville. Oh, I wish I could have gone. I couldn't, but I wish I could have gone because I would love to have seen him speak there. But I'm so glad to see him um, talking well of Bitcoin. And many of you may not know a lot about it, or maybe you've heard negative, or maybe you do know. But the benefit of this kind of currency, as opposed to a centralized digital currency, which the government wants us to use, is centralized. Bitcoin is decentralized, so it's not centrally controlled. I can't explain the whole system of how it works. It's about blocking, opening up or unblocking little blocks in a blockchain, and so there's a whole process that it goes through. But it is much more trustworthy as far as you can see everything, what has gone where, and everything that goes on with it. So I know that Bitcoin for many years was primarily used for ill in the dark web by people who, because the majority of when I heard about Bitcoin, I was like, but what is it? Like, if there isn't something I can hold in my hand, what is it? But then how is our money any different if they're just printing paper? That doesn't mean anything either. So very glad to see Trump moving in the direction of decentralization as opposed to centralization, because centralization, it essentially means that the government is they're the one point controlling everything about it. So if they can control our money, our currency, whatever it is, they can control us. And this is what we're seeing happening in China and places like that, where they have cameras tracking everybody, and they want to be able to tell us when we can travel, when we can eat, when we can breathe, and if we disobey the rules, and they can easily cut off our money with a centralized digital currency. But the decentralized digital currency, they wouldn't be able to do that. So we do, and anybody who knows a bit more about this than me is welcome to correct me, because I'm not an expert, but I have spent a little bit of time around people who are into Bitcoin. Ethereum is the other one. That is a functional blockchain, so it can do stuff. For instance, it could probably run an election, and it would be much more honest than what we have going on right now. So anyway, so just having a look at your West Virginia Mountain Mama. It's so nice to see you. Yes, she's also passionately angry about I mean, what were they thinking? Oh, let's go back. I'm going to go back in here to the expo. I moved away. So if I scroll, you see, there's the post. I thought that was so great. And I'm going to talk to you guys about Israel in a minute. Ashton's talking here about lithium-ion batteries. You guys remember a few months back, we had an explosion in my neighborhood just at the end of my street, which caused a house fire, killed the family's 2 pets, and they had to be taken to the hospital. That house burned down. It is no longer being lived in. I don't know what happened to the people. I didn't know them and haven't heard. But the cause of that fire was from a lithium-ion battery exploding. So there is a need to to be aware that there is a danger with these batteries. And Ashton Forbes will tie that back in with the Malaysian jet, which is so interesting because my dad prophesied quite a bit. I don't know, quite passionately. Actually, it was only 2 times, but he prophesied very particularly about the Malaysian jet and what we would find out. And so lately, I haven't even been posting news from anywhere except the Babylon Bee because they make me laugh. and so, of course, I'm sure you guys saw Christopher Wray from the FBI. He's the director of the FBI currently. Questioned, or didn't question. He said, "Oh, well, we don't know if Trump actually got shot." And so Babylon Bee has made quite a bit of fun of them. And also, I don't know if you guys have been watching, but you must go to the House of Destiny Network and watch yesterday's broadcast. Now, normally that's current events with my mom, but she has given Saturdays, every Saturday, to Christy and I for the month of July, because we are doing the Strange July and doing an analysis of many, many of the prophecies that are relevant now. And there's a huge list of them. So Christy and I have been going through them bit by bit and analyzing. And we do want to hear back from you. So make sure that you can email me at codebreakers@houseofdestiny.org. And I encourage you to do that. If God is revealing something to you, you want to share, if you have anything you want to share, if I get something wrong when I'm talking to you guys, you can email me if I don't get you in the comments. Also, if you're watching this later, you can do that too. I encourage you to do that because I love to hear back from you. Here's more on the church that was lit up. I was so happy. And this letter here, dear France, the Normandy American Cemetery is the final resting place of 9,238 Americans whose graves are marked by 9,238 crosses. American soldiers who in most cases volunteered to come to your shores in your time of need. Their final prayers were to the God whose son you mocked in front of the entire world. It was during the very meal you went to such creative pains to denigrate that Jesus instructed his followers to love one another and then defined what he meant. Greater love has no one than this, that one lay down his life for his friends. While you host the Olympic Games, remember your nation hosts a 172.5-acre reminder of what love looks like. You don't just owe Christians an apology, you owe the West an apology. Now, this is not to many of the French citizens who had no choice in this. But again, those global, the Olympics is a global thing, the globalists are very anti-Christian, very openly. You dare not say a thing about Islam, and you dare not say a thing about any other religion. But it's just fine with them to be blasphemous, openly blasphemous and offensive to Christians. And we've seen this growing and growing. And my dad prophesied about it. I'm going to play his prophecy from France again. I know we've looked at it before. But we're going to look at it again today. Because as events transpire, I like to go back and look at some of those again, because then we start to see more and more stuff makes sense. And so, yes, even Franklin Graham, he says, why would the International Olympic Committee allow the opening ceremonies to feature men in drag parodying the Last Supper? Many, including Elon Musk and Speaker Johnson, quickly pointed out how disrespectful this was to Christians everywhere. Even more than being disrespectful to Christians, I would be concerned about being disrespectful to God. His words tell us, be not deceived, God is not mocked in Galatians 6:7. Whether you're Catholic, Orthodox, Anglican, or Protestant, it is offensive. I'm glad he made that point too, because I kept seeing Catholics saying, well, why do they attack us and not Protestants? And I don't know if Catholics are confused, but the Last Supper is just as important to us as it is to them. So anybody Catholic watching, I don't know if you can explain that, why they would be saying that. Q is CIA or FBI, I'm afraid. Yes, Amy B, I just looked over and saw your comment, and I have to say I'm worried about that situation. Yeah, Q, in the beginning, I was quite keen. It seemed like, oh, this is cool. I could never figure out how to read the drop, so I'd read what other people said. Many of our people were very excited about it. It was quite interesting at first, but we've come to realize, I do believe it was some kind of a psyop, and it did cause people to believe, for instance, that all these people have been executed at Gitmo and have paid for their crimes. And it was all done behind our closed doors where we couldn't see it. And now they have clones or fake, people pretending to be them. But that list of people that were supposed to have been executed at Gitmo, and I don't wish that on anyone unless they have a proper trial like everyone else, because lots of rumors and things go around. And so if someone is deserving of such a punishment, I find it very difficult to believe. And so another thing that Q did was they said, oh, everybody sit back and get your popcorn. And that is not what we needed to be doing at all, is sitting back and waiting for the cavalry. It is up to us. And God wants us to be involved in this. This is why we are a prophetic people, because God needs us to be involved in what is happening here. He is not telling us to sit back and wait for him to do everything for us, because that's just not how he works. So I posted this last night. This is the only image I've had up on my page of the ceremony, which now apparently they've scrubbed it and they're getting rid of it and they're embarrassed, and they should be embarrassed. And that we were able to get them to react that way and take it down, even though, why would they do this in the first place? It didn't even make sense. It was such nonsense. But what I found interesting here was this. Let's have a look here. So my dad on February 22nd, 2014, again, and you know what? Yesterday, Christy and I covered this prophecy in a different context, but this section of that prophecy on our Codebreakers special Strange July analysis. And you can go to that if you go to houseofdestiny.tv. It's at the bottom of the screen right now. After we're done here, go have a look at that if you haven't watched it, because it was a really great conversation. And Christy had some great insight into some of that I hadn't heard. So I was so grateful for her to be there with me looking at those prophecies. But this is something else. So Dad prophesied February 22nd, 2014, the hands of once compassionate women have cooked their own children, and their children have become food for them. Your children have become food for who were once compassionate women. Now, if you look here, this person, I don't follow them and I don't know who they are, but I saw this post and it was quite interesting. The Olympic Games, the interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus makes us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings. Okay, here's that. That's what was being depicted there, right? And this person says, in the Greco-Roman world, Dionysus' closest followers were an all-female cult called Maenads, which means raving ones. And the Maenads were said to become mad with frenzy, to tear human flesh and even eat their own children. So you see how layered that prophecy was, because really he was addressing Roe v. Wade in that section of the prophecy in the Supreme Court and what would happen, and prophesying about that. But there was more to it, because what a strange thing for him to say. So how interesting that went on display like that in France. And I'm going to just see quickly. Let me go back here. I want to see if I have anything more to show you on that. In the wrong place. There we go. Because I want to show you that prophecy again, and I want to do that while we're still talking about the Olympics. So make sure I didn't have anything else I wanted to show you about that. I think that was the last thing. Because I did not, here's a video of the power outage the very next day. Kim.com says, power outage in Paris a day after France staged a degenerate opening ceremony of evil and mocked the Last Supper. So this is people who are not really Christians, but even they noticed. So very interesting. Here's another one. I just kept posting that picture. I was so grateful to see that. This is February 22nd, 2014, a different part though. And this would be coming from what Christy and I filmed yesterday. So again, go look at that. And okay, we can play the video. Okay, Lou, I'm going to play the video. Just letting him know, because he's helping me. He's helping me drive the ship. I don't have to do it alone. I was doing it alone for a while, but it's a little easier to focus on you guys if I'm not having to do that too. And he's right there. So I'm going to share. I'm replacing. I'm hoping this is correct. He did show me what to do before. Okay, there we go. All right, let's have a look at this again. And I'm going to probably stop in between because it's 5 minutes long, but I'm going to stop and go. So here we go. I can't see the chat when I have this video up because I have a screen so I can see it. So I will look at that when we're done. I can see Rumble's chat, but I can't see YouTube or X. And I can see House of Destiny. Anyway, let's do this. Wait, what did you say? Yes, Margie, Q did wake a lot of people up. So I was very torn about it. But in the end, I don't know. I think that still remains to be seen. We need to understand what is going on there. Okay. Here we go. So Dad went to Paris in 2000, I think this was 10. And he was at a church there in Paris. And I ended up going to that church in 2012. He sent me there. What a great church, great people. And he was prophesying to them about a lot of what we're seeing now. So let's have a look again. Now, he had seen the rise of the Fourth Reich. And when you see COVID and you see what happened with the vaccines, and then you look at the World Economic Forum and they're messing with DNA, that is what he was seeing. But there is an effect of their deeds on the earth and going on. Anyway, here we go.
But Europe will be affected in the same way that Daniel was praying. There was a war in the heavens. Prince of Persia. There was a battle going on. As there is today, a war will take place. It shall be short-lived. Because as France destroyed the power of invasion from the Middle East in the 7th century, so shall it rise up and destroy the invading forces from the beast of the East. There will be a second reformation in Europe. God says, I will begin in France. All the tribes of the earth shall be affected by the sound. Christian, Jewish, Islam, Buddha, they shall hear Jesus. Jesus shall touch every tribe, every nation, every language. From the sound, from this place, it shall never end, and the battle shall be won. That word is Yeshua, 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 Jesus. But Europe
Mais en Europe,
will be affected
l'Europe sera affectée.
in the same way that Daniel was praying.
Et de la même façon que Daniel a prié,
There was a war in the heavens.
il y a eu une guerre dans les lieux célestes.
Prince of Persia.
Et le prince de la Perse,
There was a battle going on.
il y a eu une bataille qui a été,
As there is today.
comme il y a aujourd'hui.
And France
Et la France
shall join forces
va joindre ses forces
with Great Britain
avec la Grande-Bretagne
and some other nations.
et avec d'autres nations.
There will be a war.
Et il y aura une guerre,
It shall be a short war.
une guerre courte.
Hear me, please.
Écoutez-moi bien,
This war,
cette guerre,
and I'm not talking about a spiritual war,
et là je ne parle pas d'une guerre spirituelle,
a war will take place.
il y aura une guerre.
It shall be short-lived.
Une guerre très courte,
Because as France
parce que comme la France
destroyed the power
a détruit le pouvoir
of invasion
de l'envahisseur
from the Middle East
et des envahisseurs du Moyen-Orient
in the 7th century,
dans le 7e siècle,
so shall it rise up
alors la France se lèvera
and destroy the invading forces
et elle va détruire aussi les forces qui
from
vont
the beast of the
envahir,
East,
qui viendront de l'Est,
and they will overcome
et nous allons vaincre,
an agreement
et Nous allons vaincre un accord
between Russia
entre la Russie
and Iran.
et l'Iran.
So, Kim, we don't want the war. Too bad.
Ah, je ne veux pas faire la guerre. Tant pis.
There shall be. Now, don't get frightened.
Il y aura. Maintenant, n'ayez pas peur.
We have an enemy that wants to invade.
Nous avons un ennemi qui voudrait bien envahir
Take Christ out of Europe.
afin d'enlever Christ de l'Europe.
Sitting on the front row here
Ici, dans la rangée de devant,
is a pastor from the Netherlands
nous avons ici un pasteur de la Hollande
and a pastor from England.
et un pasteur de l'Angleterre.
They represent the soil
Ils représentent le sol,
and the territories.
la terre,
God is going to pour out His Spirit.
où Dieu veut répandre de son esprit.
Germany will be included.
L'Allemagne sera inclue,
Italy.
l'Italie.
There shall be a great move of the Spirit.
Il y aura un grand mouvement de l'esprit.
It is literally the next Reformation
C'est littéralement la prochaine réforme
that will come about
qui va arriver
because of reconciliation.
à cause de la réconciliation.
And the Fourth Reich
Et la quatrième Reich
shall be overcome.
sera vaincue,
For the hatred for the Jewish people
car la haine contre les Juifs,
and the people of Christ
contre le peuple de Dieu,
is causing demonic rage.
est en train de provoquer une rage
But
démoniaque.
God,
Mais Dieu
has made a declaration.
fait une déclaration,
One word
une
out of the
parole,
mouth of these people,
une parole qui sort de son peuple.
and the battle shall be won.
La bataille sera gagnée.
That word
Cette parole,
is Yeshua.
c'est Yeshua.
Jesus.
Jésus.
Jesus.
Jésus.
Say His name.
Dis son nom.
Say His name.
Dis son nom.
Okay, well, I was going to interrupt him, but then I didn't want to because that was great. Lou, we need to switch back over to my X page. Let me see what you guys are saying. Okay, so I wanted you to see that because here's what's happening. We see the Olympics and we see what they did. Never, ever, ever have we seen anything like that. Now, remember, he said, the battle is causing demonic rage. Now, what we are seeing is so open an attack on Christ. The attack is on Christians, but the attack is on Christ. And what was promised there? That it would be overcome. He was seeing the Prince of Persia, the beast of the East, Islamic invasion. What are we seeing that's happening with the immigration then in the Western Christian countries? That it's not that they want to reject people and are prejudiced. It's that we are being demonized for having our own belief, our own culture, that there's something wrong with us or that there's something wrong with it, that it is to blame. And the hypocrisy is outrageous. When at the same time, think about what happens in Middle Eastern countries and with Islam, is that, for instance, the child bride, it's fine for them to marry like a 9-year-old. You know what I'm saying? And so then you have at the UN, for instance, they are dominated there, very anti-Israel and very pro-Islam. And then they say, well, it's not going to be called pedophile anymore. It's going to be called, what is it, minor attracted persons? And I feel, and many others, that this is because of the influence of the spirit. So also we must remember that there is a spirit that is governing, there are demonic forces governing regions and really gripping hard right now. And what we saw in that prophecy was a promise that it would be overcome. He named countries: France, United Kingdoms, Netherlands, and Germany, Italy. Now, if you've watched these countries over the past year, you can see what is happening here. They're being pushed out and replaced, pushed out and replaced. It's an invasion. And it is not the kind of invasion where, oh, we just have a lot of those people coming to our country and we don't like them. That's not what this is. We're, especially in America more than I would say in Europe, but in America, people are very, well, no, in Europe as well, people are very compassionate because we're Christians. So the way we view the world is different. The way the West views things is different than the way the East does. The Middle East, I mean, except for Israel. And I see you guys talking about Israel. I'm going to get to that in a minute because my goodness gracious, what happened over there was really just awful what just happened there. And if you don't know, I believe it was Hezbollah is who bombed. Let me pull my phone up. My mother was sending me information this morning. I don't know if you guys know who Amir Sarfati is. But mom follows him. And if you follow my mother, especially if you're following her on Telegram, you'll see. And what Amir said this morning is Israel is coming to the point where an all-out war can start in literally hours. The war will not include only Hezbollah, but will likely cause the pro-Iranian militias in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen to act as well. He was talking about maybe being off the grid because he's in Israel because of the power outages. Pray for the peace of Israel and pray for the enemy to be defeated. And the area that they attacked, which is why I think they're trying to not take credit for the attack anymore because they ended up attacking Muslims. The Druze are an Arab sect, roughly 1 million people, who live primarily in Syria, Lebanon, and Israel. Originating in Egypt in the 11th century, the group practices an offshoot of Islam, which permits no converts and either to or from the religion and no intermarriage. So I think that's, mom was saying that's why we think that they're trying to say, oh, we didn't do it. But they deliberately bombed children. And so then everybody's saying, oh, Israel bad because the Palestinian civilians and how much death and stuff has happened there. But you have to remember, Hamas is using the Palestinian people and children as a shield. They're not allowing aid to get to them that Israel is actually sending. Israel is saying, get away from that area, civilians, and then Hamas does not let them leave. So, and then they turn around and say, oh, they're attacking innocents. It's a tactic that they use. And I know this because I had a friend who was in the Marines and he went to Iraq. And he was one of the guys that kicked in the door. So he was like frontline guy. And what he described to us, and he had a really hard time when he came back to live in the world again after being over there and fighting in the war over there in Iraq. And he said that they would send children running at him with guns, shooting at him, and he would have to shoot back. And that is a tactic that they use. And so it's really just sickening what has happened there. And Amir Sarfati is warning of war. And I remember my dad prophesying, particularly about Yemen and both Hezbollah and Hamas and what would happen there. And we would see burning and burning and burning as we've never seen. But also he was saying, when you hear them say peace, that's when you got to worry. And we all know that too. So this is so difficult. But really, really, if you think about the Fourth Reich, Dad seeing the Fourth Reich and this disdain for Jews and Christians, that sort of it was for me unexpected. I think a lot of us in the West were quite naive to the gravity of the situation. And so we were praying for them there. Those children didn't have a chance to get to the bomb shelters. And we don't wish, even on Muslim children, we don't wish death or suffering on anybody. But the terrorists, these terrorist organizations who have taken over these countries have every intention of coming here. They're in Israel right now, who they call the little Satan. They call us the great Satan. And so it would be foolish And it is foolish the way it has been handled in the West, the way they are handling this invasion. It is foolish. And it is coming from godless leaders who do nothing but steal and lie for whatever ends and at whoever's instruction. And really, it's so. I'm looking at your comments as I'm talking. Using the children, you see, and it keeps coming up about the children. Because what did he say earlier? What did I show you earlier, or I quoted to you about the hearts of once compassionate women who would cook their own children. Again, you see over and over and over the attack on children in the womb, that they're stopped from being born, that they are mutilated, confused, lied to, miseducated. And we are seeing, the good thing we're seeing is that, and I've noticed this in the West, that the young people, younger than me, but the very young ones, their rebellion is to rebel against this agenda that has been pushed on them. I have the yeah, okay, I see. I was about to quote you, Lou, but I see you're sending me. Okay, why don't you play that, Lou? Let's play that. This is okay, because you saw what happened when Netanyahu spoke to Congress. The pro-Palestinians burning the American flag. Someone actually graffitied Hamas is coming, I think, was it? Over there. So we have a video to show you something Dad prophesied. Go ahead. It's only a minute long, so let's have a look at this. You can play it.
So what is the foreboding sound? It is the sound of the enemies of America living in America. Those are your greatest enemies, who call themselves citizens, please, who call themselves citizens, but they are enemies of the cross and enemies of the nation, and they shall be dealt with. You want judgment, says the Lord? Watch. Watch the atheists. Watch. You want judgment? Then watch those that have risen up against me and said, perhaps we shall embrace Ba'ala. Perhaps we shall embrace that religion. Maybe we shall embrace Sharia law. Ha! I laugh at you because the spirit of Elijah is in this nation, and Jezebel shall not stand, says the Lord.
Wow. Okay, so that was pretty intense. But there it is. And what you see is, and I think this is the point I've been trying to get to, is the marrying of Islam with the ancient Baal worshippers. They have joined hands in this war now against Christians and Jews. And yes, relentless Mel, we're all being challenged now, and we are. And you also saw that they had the golden calf up at the Olympics as well. That was another thing, is that they had that golden calf, and that represents Baal and Baal worshiping. It is really, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I will not watch the Olympics now, which I was disappointed. I like watching the Olympics, and I will not watch it. And that is how we have to. This is what I was saying to my husband. They have taken that video down now, and they're trying to scrub it and, get people to forget that happened. But we're not going to forget that. And the good thing, though, is that they did. And they did because of the just so much protest against it. Even people who aren't Christians are saying, what are you doing? Like, why? Again, if you had depicted a Buddha, not Buddha, or even Buddha or Muhammad, any other religion, it would be like, no, you can't offend them. No, they have the freedom to yada yada. And it's like, well, look what you just did. I mean, so it really was just like I am now, just I can't believe what I'm seeing. I mean, because that is really demonic. And so, anyway, we're going to go back to my X page because I want to show you more that I have there. Share that over. I got it. I think so. Well, I don't know. Is it there? Have a look. Lou's going to help me because it is not there. No, it's not. I'm seeing it there, but not there. He's going to help me. Replace. Maybe I didn't do that properly. Oh, that's why. There we go. Thank you. So, yes, my dad prophesied, Houston Cat, your dad prophesied the Catholics would start standing up, and they are now. And I really did see that over the last couple of days. I really did. So many Catholics posting up images and I mean, even the people that look how many people showed up there, and you had the Eiffel Tower and you had all those Christians just worshiping Jesus. And this is, what did my dad say? One word out of the mouths of these people and the battle will be won. And that word is Yeshua. That name is Jesus. He will crush every tribe. Islam, Buddha, Jewish, all of them. Because he is the King of kings and Lord of lords. He does crush them. And not physically harming, but any theology, any idea. They end up getting themselves all turned around. The Pope, look, we all saw what happened with this Pope. You had Benedict stepping down the first time in hundreds of years. I don't remember how many that a Pope did that. Funny business happened there because when that happened, lightning struck St. Peter's, and it was another one of those very startling, sort of instantaneous answers from God, like this is wrong. And I do not like the Pope, the current Pope, and his stance on these things. He is completely compromised and going along with the globalists. And he was all gung ho for I don't know, they had a plan for like a globalist church where it's Islam, Jewish, and Christian, Buddha. We're all going to worship together. And it's like, well, let's see you try that, Your Excellency, because I don't know. I mean, you can't even get, look, even in the West now, even in America, you can't get Muslims and Jewish people and even Christian people now together without there being violence. And it's usually these pro-Palestinian idiots over here who don't know anything. And then the ones who do know that came over here that are instigating it all. It's so obvious. It's not like we have to, and I don't need to explain this. You guys can see, if you've seen what's going on, it is so obvious. And the same with all the stuff the Democrats have been getting up to. I mean, can you imagine? 2 weeks ago, Biden was the candidate, and now Kamala. And oh my goodness, there we go. Here's Hamas is coming. You see that? Laura Loomer posted this. Hamas is coming. I mean, look at this. Do you see the things that, I'm not going to repeat some of this, but do you see what they're writing? Again, Zionist is now a slur. I remember, gosh, when you guys, we were all here, I think here, maybe a year ago, and some of you were saying, what is a Zionist? We didn't even know. So it's, then you understand how right on that Fourth Reich prophecy was for my dad, because it isn't manifesting in the way we expected. It's like, are the Nazis coming back? Well, there's some Nazi stuff happening, but like I said before, you see the marrying of these secular humanists with Islam in a strange way, and infiltration. And this is how they were. You can't militarily attack America. It's far away. There's all these reasons. So how would you infiltrate us? And this is, the Chinese are there with them, and they have come up with a plan. And the BRICS nations, Dad prophesied about that. That's to do with currency and the economy. They're trying to destroy everything about our way of life and replace it. My dad, even at one point after finding this prophecy, he said they were going to try to change the name of Israel, and they want to change the name of Israel and of America. He saw that. Change the name. He saw them trying to change the name of those two places. And of course, we know what their plan is for Israel, just, from the river to the sea. And then you have these fools, kids, they're kids, and their brains have been scrambled by the education system. And a lot of parents just didn't know what was actually going on, especially when you get to the university levels. Those kids. Last night I saw a girl posted from here in Nashville because Donald Trump was here speaking at the Bitcoin conference. And a girl here in Nashville posted a picture of herself holding her gun. And she's 19 years old going to the University of Nashville, whatever school it was. It's just fine for them to be openly violent, holding up their guns when they shout against guns. The thing I was going to tell you about is the comment Netanyahu made. I see a lot of you were saying what a great speech he gave. He really did. And one of the things he said in there was, I'm sure he must have been like, what is going on, when he drives in here and he sees the Gays for Palestine. And he's like, huh? Like, don't they know? And anyway, apparently, that I want to see if I can find it here. Here's another. You were talking about the Catholics. Here's another one. Let's listen to him.
Minneapolis for the marvelous celebration of the Eucharistic Congress. 50,000 Catholics coming together to worship the Lord and celebrate the real presence of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. So I come from that experience, and I come home, and I love the Olympics. So I turn on the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. What do I see now? And it's in Paris, France, a city I love. I spent 3 years as a doctoral student there. What do I see but this gross mockery of the Last Supper? And I won't describe it any further. Just go online. It's gone viral. You can see it. But France felt evidently, as it's trying to put its best cultural foot forward, the right thing to do is to mock this very central moment in Christianity where Jesus, at his Last Supper, gives his body and blood in anticipation of the cross. And so it's presented, though, as this gross, sort of flippant mockery. France, which used to be called the eldest daughter of the church, Paris, that gave us, Thomas Aquinas taught there, and Vincent de Paul was there, King Louis IX, St. Louis. France has sent Catholic missionaries all over the world. France, whose culture, and I mean the honoring of the individual and of human rights and of freedom, is grounded very much in Christianity, felt the right thing to do was to mock the Christian faith. A question I would pose, we all know the answer to it. Would they ever have dared mock Islam in a similar way? Would they ever have dreamed of mocking in this gross, public way, a scene from the Quran? As I say, we all know the answer to that. I think, folks, what's interesting here is this deeply secularist postmodern society knows who its enemy is. They're naming it, and we should believe them. They're telling us who they are. We should believe them. But furthermore, we Christians, we Catholics should not be sheepish. We should resist. We should make our voices heard.
Exactly. So that is just exactly my first instinct was he's articulated it very well. How could they have done so? Like, think of the history of France. Some of the most beautiful churches stand old. It's too much, just much too much, that they would be so brazen as to do something like that. Like, can you imagine if we went to Mecca? Maybe it's not Mecca, but okay, Mecca. Is that we go there and we mock Muhammad there? I mean, look, I'm not getting anywhere near that. I'm not a Muslim, and I would get arrested, or they would drag me away because I'm not. That's why I've been invited to go to Saudi Arabia and to, on like Pastor Steve Chocolonte was taking a group of people to Saudi Arabia, and he asked if I wanted to go. I said, no, I can't go there. I wouldn't last 5 minutes there. But think of it. So the gravity of what occurred, especially on a spiritual level, not just it's both, you see. And you remember Dad said in that prophecy, he said, it's not just a spiritual war. This is an actual war that's coming. He saw a short war and the invasion of Islam, and that it would be overcome. The invasion from Islam, not of. So very. If you guys didn't see, you can put my page back. Thank you. If you guys didn't see, I was just on the Stone Zone with my friend Roger Stone the other day. We had a very interesting conversation. And I was playing the assassination attempt prophecies for him and his viewers. And we had a great conversation because we were talking about other prophetic voices, other prophets who are out there alive right now. And a lot of people saw it coming. And, the difficulty for many people, and I know Roger expressed this was Robin Bullock's issue, was he was worried a few months back and shared it with Roger, but he didn't quite know how to handle it. And I can say that I feel the same way about the Hyatt Regency terrorist attack prophecy that my dad had in Chicago. I'm praying that this doesn't happen. This is not something I want. If there's a way we can pray it away, I don't know. But when something is prophesied, it usually that's about it. It's happening. And in the prophecy about the Hyatt Regency, my dad, he actually had a vision, and he was in the Hyatt Regency on like the 9th or 10th floor, and there was an attack. It was some kind of terrorist attack, and the walls were coming in on him. And he said he didn't see himself. He knew he wasn't actually going to physically be there, but he was seeing from the perspective of inside, as if that's how he saw the vision. And he said it was terrifying. And he also said it would be amongst those who had been unrighteous. And that is going to be where the Democratic National Convention will be held next month in Chicago. There's 2 hotels, and one of them is a Hyatt Regency. They're next to each other. And so really we're praying, and we don't want anyone to get hurt, even the people who are supposed enemies, political enemies. We don't want anyone harmed. We saw what just happened to President Trump, and the way that's been handled. And of course, everybody has their say about, we've already discussed Christopher Wray is trying to deny Trump was even shot, and that's what they were. So basically, I've got, there's a post here where the girl says it so well. I don't think I have it here. Where she talked about, I'm going to see if I can find it actually. So here we are. We've come upon Kamala. Apparently now she's not leading, but she's, neck and neck with Trump, and she's raised all this money, but it's all fraud. I wanted to play the video for you guys of Chuck Schumer, but I don't think I have it, of Chuck Schumer making the announcement. And he says, from the bottom up, a grassroots movement in 2 days, she is the candidate. And then he claps, and nobody wanted to clap. And so that was amazing to see. But how about we have a laugh? We'll have a laugh thanks to Juanita Broderick's sharing this video. Many of you, I'm sure, saw Kamala finally getting the call from the Obamas, and they had to film it. Anyway, the way we deal with some of these is sometimes we just need to laugh.
Let me know. All right. Let me know when to start. Now?
Girl impersonates Kamala Harris. It's so funny.
Michelle and Barack. Do it again? Okay. Well, look who it is. It's Big Mike and Barack. Crap. All right. Take 49. Oh, thank you so much. And your endorsement means so much to me. Even though I didn't have it the first time. Yes, the time to act is now. Now is the time to act. And I will be doing what we promised we will be doing. And that time is every day. Doing what we had to cut. They said to cut. I was trying some.
So anyway, just give you a little sample of that. It was just so funny because really what she's showing there is how fake a lot of it has been, because we know that Obama didn't want to endorse her. We know they don't get along behind the scenes. Neither do the Bidens. So I know everybody's sort of like looking at these numbers like, how did she do this? They're cheating. She did not raise that money in 2 days. And look, anybody who was giving that to her, they're not voting for her. They're voting against Trump, and you should never vote that way. So I actually sent that to Clay Clark just to give him a laugh because it was just too funny. Here is Donald Trump meeting Bibi Netanyahu as he was not received as he should have been. There was no one to meet or greet him when he arrived at the airport, and Trump immediately invited him to Mar-a-Lago. So it was lovely to see how a real president handles things. And, he's had a good relationship with Bibi Netanyahu, and we know what my dad prophesied about what God was going to do in the United States of America and Israel at the same time. So there are a lot of parallels happening here during this season that we're in. And so I was glad to see that. Here we go, Babylon B again. The FBI director suggests that Trump's ear just spontaneously exploded. It's Babylon B making a joke. It wasn't a real hit. My sister's like, what? It wasn't a real headline. Babylon B is just making fun of him. No, he went on the stand and said, the FBI director went on the stand this weekend and said, he wasn't sure if Trump was actually shot. He wasn't sure. We know Christopher Wray is I can't stand him. I can't stand some of these people because they can just get away with whatever they want. And so even if things come out about people, I don't know if you guys saw Peter Strzok and Paige, the two that were having the affair that worked at the FBI, whose text message, they just got awarded like millions of dollars. So it's really frustrating and awful for a lot of us, many of us, most of us, looking at this, and you just feel so helpless. And so that's why I'm grateful for the prophecies through my dad that deal with the immediate stuff that we're going through. And it was all prophesied in advance. And it turns out all that stuff wasn't separate prophecies the way it had looked before, but it's actually all connected and beginning to culminate. So here we are in the Strange July. I am making a Strange July t-shirt, by the way, because the thing I've been trying to do is let's wear your prophecy, wear the prophetic declaration, declare it in a, I just like the idea of doing that. So I'd made a Death to Death t-shirt, and I need to make more so that there's, something for everybody, because not everybody wanted the, I had death. I had a skeleton but it was just one of the designs. I'm coming up with stuff for that, but that way you guys can go, and if you want to grab one of those, you can. And I'll share it with you guys. Follow me on X, and I'll share with you how to get those. But I'm still working on them. But I want to do a Strange July and an Hypnotic November, because this November, if we've got the Strange July now, if you look at the Seasons Prophecy, and if you haven't seen that, I'll show you how to do that in a second. The Seasons Prophecy, where he talks about a Strange July and Hypnotic November. Most of you watching right now know what I'm talking about. Someone is asking, thank you, Wall for him. Donne, can you please post on Truth Social what you post on Twitter for the people? Okay, I do need to be doing that. And so I was just thinking, you read my mind. I was thinking this the other day, that I struggle to use social media at all. I'm not too into it. I don't use Facebook anymore, Instagram. When it first came out, like MySpace, I loved it because you could make your own website and you could design it, make it look how you wanted. But I mean, I wasn't doing anything back then. It just, cute animals is what you'd see. And so, that was cool. But then as time went on, and especially through Trump's presidency and then after the 2020 election, I was censored pretty hard and treated badly. So I left Facebook and Instagram. It was too much anyway. I got to go to Facebook. Now I got to go to Instagram. Now I'm going to Twitter. It was too much. I don't have time. I don't have time for that. So what I have done is I have landed at X, and I'll use that one because it's very easy for me to look at news and then share it with you this way. And just the way it works, I've always liked it, even before when it was Twitter. It was the only one I ever really used, but I didn't post. I used to just go to read stuff and save information. And then, of course, Elon Musk bought it. And then, of course, there wasn't any more of the censorship over there. So I felt a lot more free and I began to post there. And then I built a following. So that's what's happened with me at X. Because right now, I think I'm at 17.3 thousand followers, which it's just been, I mean, I started a year ago doing this, not even. And I had about maybe 500 people followed me. So it's at West Virginia Mountain Mama, also MySpace. MySpace was fun. It was innocent, you know. It was like, oh, we can do this on the internet. We can share stuff with each other on the internet. And anyway, I will. It will be very easy for me to just share it on Truth as well, what I post. So I will try to remember to do that. I have been, because I do support Truth Social. That's Donald Trump's thing, and I do, and I go over there and I read stuff, and sometimes I'll share from there. But I struggle to keep up with too many social media, because then I'm on Rumble and I'm on YouTube and I'm on X. I think it's too much for my little brain. So anyway, if you can follow me on X, do so. If you can follow me on Rumble or YouTube, do so. If not, I am at Truth Social, and I will make sure to maybe I can just like copy and put. Used to be able to post on Facebook, and then it would automatically post on Instagram too. I don't know if there's a way to do that now, but I'll try. I will. And thank you for bringing that up, because I kept thinking I need to post on Truth, and then I keep forgetting. So my bad. I'm sorry. I will keep doing that. This woman was quite brave. They were having. Here, just watch it for a second.
I stand against Islam and the false prophet Muhammad.
Everybody's shocked.
Islam will never dominate the United States, and by the grace of God, it will not dominate Texas.
Okay, so someone said to me, that's not the way you handle that. But and I probably wouldn't have either, but I had to give it to her. She was brave. No, we are with her. We are with her. That's the thing. Something else that's just happened, which I found sort of odd, I didn't expect this, is that the Mexican drug kingpin Ishmael El Mayo Zambada, who is the co-founder of the Sinaloa cartel, has been arrested in Texas along with someone else. So that was quite interesting. It was just sort of out of nowhere that came, and I'm watching that. If anybody knows about that, let me know. Right. Okay. So let's keep going here. Party cheating in primary election promises they will definitely not cheat in the general. See, this is the thing. You can't just say, look, if Biden was stepping down from the presidency, then Kamala Harris as VP needs to sit in as the president for him until an election can be held, and then the people vote who they want to be president. You can't just install her as the candidate like that. You can't just say Biden's running and then raise all the money for Biden, and then, oh, well, Biden has dementia now, and suddenly we're going to admit that, and so he's not going to run, but he's staying as president. The whole thing is a mess. So anybody who's worrying about Kamala Harris because the numbers seem a bit, it's like 41 to 40 something in this state and the state with Trump, and it looks like she's got a lot of support. Just wait a second. Nobody panic. These people have been divided from within by their own mess that they've made. They have made a mess. When I talk about overplaying their hand, this is overplaying their hand. And so I wouldn't panic about it. But I also wouldn't just say, oh, it'll be fine, because this environment is insane. So I would say to anybody, because my mom was saying it to me this morning, look at how has this happened? Remember the 2020 election, how that all went down. My concern, though, is that with this is that nobody's really done anything since the 2020 election. So I'm going to go over to your comments here, because I'm looking at Rumble, but I haven't seen much I haven't been able to see you guys. I am concerned because not much has been done about what happened at the 20. Now, things have been done. I feel like not enough, though. Especially, gosh, we've had 4 years to sort out some of these election laws and things, and then we have the other side trying to fight for immigrants to be able to vote, illegal immigrants, people who are not naturalized. For instance, my family, we're immigrants and we had green cards, but even though we had green cards, we still couldn't vote. Like my parents were not allowed to vote in an election here until they became citizens, till they did the whole thing. Then they were citizens and had their American passports, and then they voted. They're trying to change laws, and then you say, well, why would they be doing that? Because, well, they've been this is the reason that they've been flooding immigrants into our country. Just open that border, just let them in, 1 million, 2 million. Well, that's votes for us, because it is. I mean, they're putting them up in hotels. They're giving them debit cards with money on them. They're giving them cell phones, they're feeding them. Americans are suffering. Our veterans don't have anywhere to go. Even just regular Americans who might have needed some assistance here and there, they can't get it. So their taxes pay for it, but then it's like all of our taxes are going to pay for one party to cheat in an election, it almost feels like, because then they're spending all that money and bringing all these immigrants in, and those immigrants don't even have to vote. What happens is, let's say, and that's why they're sending them to like Texas or Tennessee. They're sending them to red states because they need to bump the numbers up, the blue numbers up. And the way they're doing that is, okay, we have, so many people in the population, so they need X amount of delegates to represent them. If that population increases, then they get more delegates. So you see, the way in which they cheat is not one big way. They've got all these little things that they do, little tricks and sneaky things. And it's just, my gosh, we talk about father of lies, Daniel, father of lies. I don't know what you were talking about. But that's what I read it and it was just perfect. This is why the immigration. So they flood them in, then they get more delegates. And so it's all tricks. And so I do just feel like nothing has really been done properly to make anything better to stop them from cheating, except for what Trump's been saying, which is we have to win so big that they can't get away with all their little tricks when they cheat. And that will mean us voting. And that's what Trump was saying. The left and the media have misquoted him and said, oh, you're never going to vote again in an election after you vote for me. What he was saying is he was speaking to the Christians. He was speaking to the especially evangelical Christians who don't tend to vote. And he was saying, look, come and vote this one time and you never have to do it again. That's what he was saying. Because Christians don't I didn't know that until recently, but it's like you have to really, it's like pulling teeth getting them to vote. Can you guys please vote? Please. Like everybody, if you just go vote, that might be able to be enough to stop the cheating, because I'm just too much. So this was Trump's statement about Christopher Wray, the FBI director, told Congress yesterday he wasn't sure if I was hit by shrapnel glass or a bullet. The FBI never even checked. But he was sure that crooked Joe Biden was physically and cognitively uneventful. Wrong. That's why he knows nothing about the terrorists and other criminals pouring into our country at record levels. His only focus is on destroying January 6th patriots, raiding Mar-a-Lago, and saving radical left lunatics, like the ones now in D.C. burning American flags and spray painting over our great national monuments with zero retribution. This is the thing. Like January 6th, they invited them in. Like there were bad people doing bad things, but the majority of the people who showed up there were asking for accountability from their government. That's why they did. There were so many people that showed up. I think it frightened them too. And then, of course, they had people instigating. And, of course, there's people. You get 1 million people together in one place, you're going to have bad actors. You're going to have people doing bad things. And it's not to excuse bad behavior. However, the hypocrisy, it's remarkable. It's remarkable to me that they're getting away with it. It must be to them, too. They must be thinking, well, we just got away with that. Let's try this. Let's push it. Until, you end up with a disaster that's not good even for them. And so really we need God to intervene here. Now, Israel from Alpha Vets made a Really cool video. I was hoping to find it. Patrick Byrne is talking a lot about some of the things that are being done as far as voting stuff in particular states where it matters, like Georgia, things like that. So if you don't follow Patrick, I encourage you to follow Patrick Byrne. He used to have Overstock.com, which he sold. He's got a whole story. Just follow him. He's a good guy. He's not. He's a like Christian light. I've had a few conversations with him, but we really want to pray for him too, that he comes to God and its fullness, and having that relationship with God. Here, Glenn Beck, this was really good what he said. He said, imagine that the leader of the Soviet Union has an absolute breakdown on live TV. Immediately, even his own allies question whether he's on the brink of a full cognitive collapse. Days later, the regime's main political opponent barely survives an assassination attempt. Again, on live TV, the opponent becomes the exact opposite of the impaired leader. Strong, defiant, standing with the people. The election appears to be all but over, but then the regime's leader is declared sick and taken out of public view. Just a few days later, he declares that he'll let the regime replace him in a letter without making an appearance. And that's exactly what happened to Biden over the past 3 weeks. If this was the Soviet Union, we would call that a coup. So we must be paying attention. We knew this was not going to be easy this year. We knew it's going to get worse. My dad prophesied at Hypnotic November. I'm praying. Here it is. And you want to talk about the volcanic eruption? Let's see. Oh, this is the broadcast. Is it? No, this is the prophecy. There it is. Can we put a link in the chat or somewhere so people can go and watch that? If you haven't seen the season's prophecy, it's too long for me to play now, but you need to watch it because it is about this year. If you were with us last year with Bo Polney, he really covered it well. There, Amanda Grace saw God grabbing Trump by his ear. She had the prayer meeting. You all remember, just right before, just days before he was shot. And so this is very encouraging because this is confirmation. I have dad's prophecies, but hearing current voices is good too, because this isn't about one prophet or one person. It's about us. And what I have is dad, so I can speak to that. I don't like to speak to things that I don't know about. And if I don't know and I'm talking about something, I'll always tell you. So I'm just scrolling a little bit here because I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. You saw Elon Musk was with Netanyahu. Glad to see that. Also, the Secret Service lady stepped down, Cheadle. There's more. There's that footage of the protesters burning the American flag. Eek. Oh, look at this. Jack Osborne, Ozzy Osbourne's son, is now voting for Trump. That was a surprise. He looks so nice too, much better than he did before. I used to watch their reality show. So that was quite encouraging to see. So there's Mike Tyson also. A lot of people openly being brave enough to come out and say, you guys think what you want of me. This is who I'm voting for. Because it's so obvious now. So they may think they're winning because they're not having repercussions and they can just get out there and say whatever they want. But what's happened is nobody trusts them anymore. We don't trust the FBI. We don't trust any of our leaders, any of the things that we need to trust, the media. We can't trust them at all. It's not even like a little bit. It's you guys are just liars. And you're supposed to be protecting us, FBI. And you're partisan. You're on the side of the Democrats and you're going to prove it's please stop being so childish. Okay? We don't want to be one party either. We don't just want one party. That's bad too. We need to have contrast. It's just gone too far. Used to, we'd be able to sit together. It didn't matter if you were Democrat or Republican. You could have a discussion, disagree. Everybody was fine and we went home. The level that this has gotten to is, as my dad said, demonic rage coming out of people. You say Trump, and even on our side, the reaction shouldn't be like that. It should be Christian. And that doesn't mean being weak or meek either. Remember that. So Here we go. Let's not forget that. That's what I want to see in a leader. I want to see somebody who is a fighter, who's not going to cower, who's, even if he has to, even if it sounds rough and it's difficult, at least he tells the truth. I'd rather just know the truth. And the thing is that we have been lied to so much that you do have crazy conspiracy theories. Some of them are nuts going around. And I'm a conspiracy theory person, sort of. I'll look at them. I always will look. But some of them just go completely. And that's because what are we supposed to do? You're not telling us the truth about anything. You lie to our faces and then act like we're crazy if we notice, or that we're terrorists, or that we're evil or bad in some way if we call you out. And so what do you expect? It will be, when they think they're winning, especially when they cheat to do it, they don't have any foresight, and they're not realizing the absolute damage to the entire world they're doing, not even just to America, not even just to the whole world. And you got countries like Iran and Russia and China and North Korea, and they're all getting together, buddy, and they're making all kinds of plans and doing all kinds of stuff. And we're here arguing over gender and, trans people in the military. And what are you doing? I mean, it's just too much for me, far too much. Rudy Giuliani said, how can we trust Christopher Wray to oversee the investigation of this attempted assassination when he was a major player in electing Biden by fraud by covering up the hard drive and supporting Biden's lies? Republicans should have. The Republicans are just, it's almost worse. Some of them are great, but some of them, it's worse, because at least the Democrats, and at least the people on the left, at least the Muslims even, will say, we hate you and are openly against you. But when the people who are pretending to be for you obstruct you in a cowardly manner, it's worse. One thing I just wanted to see here was if I have that eruption, because we've talked about the eruption in the national park for a long time now. And do you have it? Oh, play it. Lou has it. You see, that's why I have him. Okay. He's gonna put it up. Are you putting it up, or are you gonna have to come here?
But there is a national park where there is an eruption under the earth. For it to come out, and many say it is just simply an eruption. But it is not. It is a sign that I shall contain that which would try and be destructive in this nation. A volcano as a sign.
But just keep moving. Unless there's big holes, follow that guy in the St. Louis City church.
Yeah, you can turn that off now. How do we go back to? I think it's there. Can I do this? Oh, I did do it. Okay. All right, you guys. I am out of time, and you know what? My stomach's actually grumbling. I'm so hungry. I've been sitting here and I'm hearing my tummy, so I gotta go eat. But we've been here long enough anyway. So let me just keep you guys up on things happening. So we're doing a special for the entire month of July, and maybe even longer. We might just keep going. And then whenever Mom has something, then we'll bring Mom back and let her do current events and come back again, because there's so many prophecies. But I almost dropped my drink. The Big E. Okay, so the Big E is all tied up with a volcano, and I need to bring that up also. People who don't know what we mean when we say the Big E, we're talking about energy. My dad saw a new energy, and this was going to be very, very good for America. And it was, he saw that coming out of eruptions and earthquakes, that the earth would yield of its produce, and from that would come cures for diseases, discovery of new energy, and that this would be the death to debt in this nation. And so he prophesied that not once or twice, but many, many times over decades. He was seeing the Big E, a new energy that would cause They're to be cures specifically for cancer, autism, Alzheimer's, brain disorders, things like that, and that it would take us out of our debt. And so that prophecy was, what date was that prophecy? The season. So the date of that prophecy is June 14th, 2014, which is Donald Trump's birthday. So that's another sign. And then in the prophecy, he said, an eruption in a national park as a sign. And when did we see that eruption? Like beginning of last week, the day after I saw you guys, there it was. And so interesting this, and really things to pray about, but also to feel encouraged. Feel encouraged today. Because what we saw prophesied from my dad is he was seeing the problems and the issues that would come, but he was seeing victory, overcoming, and a death to debt, and a discovery of a new energy. And we're on the cusp of that, and I truly believe it. And so that is what we pray for. And however it's supposed to happen, God's will, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, please. And all of you in here in the chat, I'm seeing you. It's so lovely that you join me every week. Yes, you guys talking in Rumble about Amanda Grace. She did lose her horse, Diesel, and her lamb, Moses. And so we pray for Amanda. She was so sad. She was just so sad about it. She called me crying. And it's really just, it breaks her heart. So she has been attacked. But look at what God just did through her. She saw Trump getting pulled by the ear, God pulling Trump by the ear. She had the prayer meeting right before for Trump, and she wanted to do this. And Eric asked her, and when, and all of it was, I mean, you guys heard her here. So please pray for Amanda. She's my friend. And we'll continue to pray for one another too. Father, please help us through this time. Help us to see clearly what we need to see. Help us to be a voice for you in a time where so many are trying to silence it. Help us with that. And however you need this to happen, however you want it to happen, however you have willed it, whatever has been destined, we pray for that. And we pray for the comfort of many hearts today. So many people sad, struggling, confused. Help us to see. And we thank you for what you have given us. And through the gift of prophecy, not only through my dad, but others, and in our own selves, that our relationship with you be strengthened, that we hear your voice, and that we know when it is the right moment, when it is the right time, when it is the right thing. We already will know because we know your voice. We have that relationship with you, and I know that's what you want built in us. We are the warriors of the new millennium. And so we stand before you today seeking your will. And we pray that in your precious name, Jesus. Amen. Okay, everybody, don't miss current events, except for it's not current events. It's in the slot of current events every Saturday. Christy and I analyzing these prophecies. Come and look at what we're doing. houseofdestiny.tv. Tomorrow, I will have Prophetic Rewind up for you at kim.tv. Tuesday, we've got Real Life, Real Faith. Wednesday, Church with Fa. They've been having some fun over there. You guys should go and check out what Pastor Fa is doing on Wednesdays for the church services. Thursdays, every other Thursday, Charlie Jordan does Prophetic Perspectives of the Prophetic. He changed it, so I don't know. Don't miss Charlie, because you need to hear from Charlie too. Charlie has a different perspective, but it aligns, but he'll be able to fill you in on things I don't know and that I can't. So we all work together here at the House of Destiny Network. And then Fridays, Christy Desfontaine and Dubi Saba, very important that we pray for Israel right now. They are under attack. Follow Amir Sarfati. Can we write that somewhere so people can see? A lot of you already know who he is, but I really want you to go follow him. He's a Christian. He's an Israeli. He lives in Israel, and he is really, really good, a really anointed man of God, but he's also very good at keeping us updated and informed and helping us to understand things sometimes that we get confused about with the politics over there, what's happening. Do follow him. Can I just type in here? I'm just going to type it. Amir. I think it's like that. I've just put it in the chat. Is that only on YouTube though? Jackie, can you type in Rumble Amir, Amir Sarfati, Tsarfati? Sure, I think that's how it's spelled. Let me make sure before we go, you guys. Don't want to tell you the wrong name. I don't have it here. Hang on. Bear with me, everybody. I want to make sure you follow him because if you want to know about Israel, a lot of you do. I'm seeing a lot of you do. Follow him. He's my mother and I have followed him for years. He's very, very trustworthy. And that really helps too. It helps when someone who knows and understands can. There you go. On the bottom of the screen there, you can see how to spell his name. Do search him and look because he will keep you informed, especially in the coming days and weeks as we see what develops with Israel. And we must be praying for Israel and standing with Israel. He is, yes, Robert Simpson, thank you, on YouTube. He is on Telegram. That's where my mother follows him. And that's it. That's his. He's got a Rumble. And what is it called? What is the name of his ministry? Behold Israel? Behold Israel. That's what it is. Yeah. You're reading in Hebrew. Good job, Jacqueline. My sister. Okay, Kay is asking for us to pray for her husband, Rick Roberts, who is in hospital. Everybody, pray for Rick Roberts. He's in hospital. They're saying he's terminal, but God is greater. I've been there and I know with my own dad how awful and awful it is in the hospitals and you're hearing bad reports. We will be praying for Rick. We pray for him right now. Father God, heal him if it is your will. We know that you have promised a cure for cancer. We think that cure is already there and it's being hidden from us. We ask that you reveal that, expose the people who have been hiding it and what the deeds of the enemy to try to kill us. I'm praying for Rick Roberts. Everybody else, pray for him. The more, the better. And I saw that with my dad when he would prophesy. The more people were praying, the more he would see. It's not nothing. Prayer does not mean nothing. And when we are united and we see, I feel you, Kay. I'm glad I read that before I left today. I know about this. It's hard. It's really hard. I don't even want to go back there in my own memories with my dad. But that was a different story. That's not going to be the story for him. God had a plan for my dad, and there was a time. And you know, when people are prophets, it isn't always an easy life for them. It usually is not. And if you look in the Bible at the prophets in the Bible, the way their lives ended, it was never easy. Also, I want to just, before I go today, I need to just announce something to you. We are launching a new partner program, like a subscription program. And we're doing this. Look at the graphics. Oh, I just love it so much. We're going to have a t-shirt. Oh, talking of t-shirts. But that one's going to be in our, as a part of the partnership is what I'm wanting to do. And I believe we've got, okay, yes. So the vault has been updated. So you go to the database and you can do keyword searches, just very basic right now on our website and in our app. However, with our new partnership program, we've rebuilt parts of the website so that if you partner with us, you will be able to go into the vault. And I've worked a lot of this was my idea, and everybody here, the whole team at the House of Destiny Network has been working on this so that you can have, it can be easier, not only to search prophecies and look up stuff like that, but to understand the prophetic. My dad taught so much on it. There's so much there. And so we have a lot of that stuff that we want to be able to share with you. And we're going to be doing it through the partnership. So those of you who partner with us, subscribe to our stuff, you will have access to this secret place. And it is the vault, which was sealed on September 7th of 2015, when my dad had the first stroke. Although I think, September 7th would be I was going to say maybe they should do it for the 5th, but no, the 7th. And yes, it's like a subscription. So you'll be able to, but you have to go to our website to do it. But you'll be able to partner with us. We have not launched it yet, and I'll announce when we do. But I'm just letting you guys know because we've got graphics coming in now, and I'm getting so excited because I really wanted to be able to do something special for you guys, and we hadn't done anything with the partner program since my dad had died, except for continue them and continue to give with our missions and do what we could. But now, as time passed, we realized, well, these are outdated now. And, my dad was not someone who liked things to remain stagnant. He was a person of constant revelation and moving forward. So he would not have liked that we had left it as long as we did. And so we really have put together something beautiful for you guys. And so for a subscription fee or a partnering with us, which will be very low, I don't know what it is yet, but not much. just so we can keep it going, because we had to upgrade the website and we got to keep it running. And so there is a cost to it. So this is coming and I'm so excited. Also, anybody who might be wanting to support us today, if there's something you want to give, if God's put it on your heart to give us something. My dad used to do $5 in your face offerings. You know, we're just kind of trying to keep things running, keep the lights on, keep our editors paid. You can, if you give an offering of any amount today, you can get this book. And we're going to, the graphics better, but I got the book too. And this is actually not a book, it's a devotional. And it's a 31-day devotional. My dad wrote these. He used to call them the daily lights, and he would put it in an email he'd send to everybody. You can scan the QR code. If you don't like the QR code, you need to go to the website, because I know some people don't like using them. Go to the website, houseofdestiny.org or kimclement.com, and you'll see the banner. Go and click the banner if you want to get this devotional with your offering. So let's say you give $1 today, we'll send you that book. If you give $5, we're going to send you that. Now, if you give $25, we are going to give you the Prophetic Revelations, a collection of letters from the pen of Kim Clement. Again, my dad was not only an incredible musician, he was an incredible writer. He was a poet, and he could articulate things so beautifully. And also, he had such a gift for teaching from the Bible about the prophetic. So he had experience, but then it's all biblically based. Like, he's not off on his own making up stuff. So really, there's some beautiful things in this. And so if you give a donation of $25 or more, you can get this. Just make sure you scan the QR code or go to the banner, because otherwise we won't know to send it to you, because there's different ways that you can give. Like, you can text to give, you can call, you can mail it in. On all the social media platforms, if you go in the description, you'll see links you can click to go and give us a little something to help support us as an offering. And when you're giving into the prophetic, you get that prophet's reward. And I know many of us need that right now. And I know my dad's not here, but it wasn't about just my dad. It was about what God needed to do for the West and for his people and in this time. And so anyway, I thank you all, too, for joining me today. West Virginia Mountain Mama, I see you there. I'm so glad you came again today. And everybody over in the House of Destiny chat, Maria, Kelly, Tracy, you guys are always there. And I'm so glad to see you there. And I appreciate all of you so much. And it's just such a lovely time. We do this every week. I so enjoy it. So Clay Clark will be with me next week. Again, he was supposed to be here today, but he's going to come next week. And I'm still lining up some more guests here and there. So we'll be able to hear from other people about what's going on and what God's doing. And God is doing great things. I know it looks rough, but God is moving in a most unique way, and I know he's going to surprise. He loves surprises. That's what I found about. I love that about him. He loves to surprise us, and so he has some surprises, not bad ones, but good ones, in store for us. And he has promised us victory, and so we stand on that, and we continue moving on, pressing on. We will make it. So I'll see you next week.
Excited to announce my all-new mattress topper. In the times we're in, I wanted to bring you the best affordable mattress topper ever. So I took my two best technologies and combined them to make the ultimate mattress topper. And now you can get it for as low as $69.98. Queen size only $99.98. It all starts with my famous MyPillow foam that provides you that overall full body support. Second is the individual comfort supports that give you an amazing custom sleep experience. It's like it's made specifically for you. The queen size alone has over 14,000 comfort supports. This is the perfect mattress topper to improve any bed. New bed, old bed, your guest beds. Get them for every bedroom in your house. Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the all-new My Mattress Topper for as low as $69.98. Queen size only $99.98. Don't delay, order today.
In beautiful Hot Springs, Arkansas for the first annual George Magazine Live, August 10th and 11th, with special speakers Amanda Grace, Gene Ho, Don A. Clement, Juanita Broderick, Scott McKay, and join us on Sunday for a free Sunday service with music from Pastor Bob Joyce. It's George Magazine Live, August 10th and 11th. Find out more at georgemagazinelive.com.
of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you. And then by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're